Hello students, so here I am starting part 2 of chapter 4. Part 1 we had already finished of chapter 4. So we were doing chapter 4, that is alternative centers of power, and we were studying about European Union, that how its formation took place, how it came into being in the current scenario, how it started with the Marshall Plan, and how in 1991 after disintegration of USSR the formation of European Union was formed. So what were the features of European Union? Before that, I would like to tell you here that European Union had economic, political and military influence as the world's biggest economy. It was influencing the whole world in terms of economy now. Before it started as an economic group only, but later on it became a political and a military influence all over the world as the biggest economy, and it was influencing its neighbors, nearby countries, and also the continent of Asia and Africa especially, because following their economic, political and military policies, many of the countries and continents were being influenced and attracted towards the power of European Union. That is why we call it as the alternative center of power other than US. It could easily challenge, it had the capacity and capability to challenge the power of US, as after the Second World War, or sorry, after the disintegration of USSR in 1991, USA was having the whole sole hegemony all over the world, and it was controlling all the hard power, soft power and structural power all around the world. But now EU was also influencing the world's biggest economy in terms of economy, political and military influence. So here, studying the features of European Union, we had already read about what was European Union, how it was slowly and gradually came into being in 1992. So its basic features were its economic influence all over the world as a strong economy, its political and diplomatic influence and military influence. What were the importance? These three were the reasons for the development and success and as a powerful group of EU. The popularity of EU as the alternative center of power was just because of these three elements. So we will be taking the first one, economic influence. So what was the economic influence of European Union? The European Union is the world's biggest economy with a GDP of more than $12 trillion in 2005. In 2005, according to census, the world's biggest economy was of European Union, as European countries are combined together, and they did a economy of 12 trillion in 2005, and later on $17 trillion in 2016. These 2 years have been censused and seen that European Union has the biggest economy as a continent after US. And their currency, euro can be the dangerous for US dollar. As we know, most of the import export business all around the world, trade commerce, take under US dollar. It is the most popular currency, and all the countries are influenced by dollar. But now, as the European Union was becoming stronger in terms of economy, political and military, now Europe said, or the people thought, euro, the currency of European countries, was a danger to US dollar. And the next is its share of European Union countries. She had a share of world trade 3 times larger than US. The export, trade and commerce of USA was not larger than European Union. European Union had a share thrice, 3 times more than US. So we can say economically it had the capacity and capability to challenge USA in terms of these data. This is the data, like 12 billion in 2005, $17 trillion in 2016. Euro was challenging, giving a challenge to US dollar. Here the trade of European countries was 3 times more than that of USA. So these economic data tell us that European Union was certainly a good challenge, a good competition giving to USA in terms of economy. Now second, we will be taking political and diplomatic influence. Starting the first point here, these two countries, Britain and France, these are the most 2 important members of European Union. These are the countries of Europe. These hold permanent seats in the United Nations Security Council. You have read about this United Nations since class 5, 6, 7, 8. In every class you have read about this organization, United Nations. It sees the world, all over the world, security and peace and development, and cooperation among the world over countries. So Britain and France, these two countries hold the permanent seat in this particular Security Council. The structure of is like this: United Nations Security Council. There are 5 permanent members. These permanent members are US, China, France, United Kingdom, Russia. This we can say Britain. So France and Britain has a fixed permanent place in United Nations Security Council, and there are also non-permanent members. There are 10 non-permanent members which keep changing after every 2 years. So many members of these 10 members are of European countries, and these 2 countries of Europe are permanent in United Nations Security Council. So we can say it has a lot of influence world over in the world politics, economics and military wise in all, along with US in other countries. So basically here I'm just telling you the political influence of EU in the world politics now after 1991. So this led to the influence of US policies such as US current position. So now EU had been influencing world politics as well. So US was interfering in the Iran's nuclear program. Iran was having a nuclear program, but USA, as I told you, kept a close eye all over the world that which countries were leading to different type of technologies or nuclear programs or dangerous destructive weapons. So USA was interfering in Iran's nuclear program, but here the world had now alternative, that is European Union and US also. Like previously we were having USSR as the alternative power, now there was European Union. So European Union was influencing the policies of US as USA was interfering here. So Iran had the other partner to rely on. These countries would go to European Union for its support. The next is use of diplomacy. But as we saw the policy of USA, US used to use its military power a lot. Whenever there was a problem, there was a conflict, USA sent its army to attack or for a war in different countries for their different purpose, whether it may be economic or political purpose. But EU had a different strategy. Like they use diplomacy, they use economic investment and negotiation, solving the matters with discussions and managing to find some better solutions of problem. And they did not do coercion mean gussa, and this force mean use of military. European Union did not relied on these two forces. In fact, instead of using coercion and military force, they use diplomacy, they use economic investment and negotiations to solve the problem. For example, they had a dialogue with China on human rights and environmental degradation. In this, with the better negotiations, they solved the problems. So this European Union was promoting peace and cooperation among the countries all over the world through the policy of diplomacy, their economic investment and negotiations on various problems arising in the world arena. On the other hand, USA always used its military power. So this was the difference between European Unions and United States. Now coming up to this military influence. So under this military influence, we will be reading the points. Like European Union, total expenditure of military is second after that of USA. The first is USA, which puts a lot of expenditure on its military and its development and technology, and after that European Union was number 2. European Union combined forces, the combined forces of all the European countries together were second. The number was second after US. That is, in this military combined forces also US armed forces was number 1. Here they also had, especially Britain and France as one of the most important and powerful members of European Union, of European countries. They had 550 nuclear weapons of destruction. They had this number of nuclear weapons. Although this number is very less as compared to US, but still we can say this was second in military expenditure, this was second in combined forces of military after US, and this was having only 550 nuclear weapons of destruction. but still we can say it was occupying second position, but it had the capability and capacity to at least challenge the power of USA in the world politics. Previously, after the disintegration of USSR, there was no organization, there was no union or no social group to challenge the power of US. But now, after reading the economic influence, military influence and political influence, we can say that at least in the world arena there were certain certain alternative centers of power in the form of European Union, which was giving a challenge and competition to US somehow. And the last is European Union. These countries of Europe occupy second place. Here also they occupy the second place in space, communication and technology. That is also after US. First is here also US. But we can see here at least it was giving competition. It had the capacity to be as equal as USA in all their spheres. If I talk about economics, if I talk of political and diplomatic influence and military influence. But as I told you in the chapter US hegemony, USA was a most superpower. It was influencing the whole world as a hard power, soft power, and structural power. But it had some constraints. That is, are the meaning I told you, limitations which were put in front of its power. In the same way, Europe also had some limitation and controversies, which somehow balanced or stopped it from growing even a stronger center. It was a strong center, but there were some limitations put in front of European Union. What were those limitations and controversies? I am going to read out here. First, controversies regarding to include new member states of Soviet Union. After the disintegration of USSR, many countries of Eastern Europe wanted to join Western Europe to form a European Union. But many countries questioned and they did not wanted Eastern European countries which were under USSR to join the Western European countries which were under US. This was the situation. This was Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. This was under USSR and this was under US, as I told you. But after disintegration of USSR in 1991, these countries wanted to join this and make it all a European Union. But few countries did not wanted it, but later on they joined the European Union. Here the next point is, not every country wants that their currency will be euro. As I told you, the currency of European countries as the member of European Union, currency was euro, but all the country did not wanted to have their currency as euro. So most of the power and limitation and controversies were coming within their own group, that is from the countries of European, as all the countries did not have the same aspirations, demands, needs, geographical condition, climatic conditions, all were different from each other, but somehow they were living under the same group, that is European Union, to cooperate on economic, political, social matters and to develop peace and to promote peace and development all around the world and to be a strong group as a European Union. But still they had some differences and all the countries did not wanted to have the same currency as euro. So these are some limitations and controversies which were put in forward by different countries of European Union, which somehow managed to control the activities of European Union. As when I was telling you what is European Union in this first part, also I told you that European Union, they all had common foreign relations, common foreign policies, common defense policies, common economic policies. But we can see a difference here, that many countries from Europe, they had common policies as a European Union as a group, but they had different foreign relation and defense policies with other countries other than Europe. For example, Britain Prime Minister Tony Blair was America's partner in the Iraq invasion. In this US hegemony chapter, third chapter, we read about Iraq invasion, in which USA attacked on Iraq, as they said Iraq was developing weapons of mass destruction. In this, Britain supported America. On the other hand, the members of Europe, Britain was also a country of Europe, a member of European Union, and Germany and France was also the member of European Union. But Germany and France opposed America. They opposed the activity of America to attack Iraq. But on the other hand, Britain supported America. So this was a problem coming in Europe, as they were living under the same group of European Union, but they had different foreign relations. Like Britain was having a good relation with America. Germany and France were also the allies of US in the Second World War, but here they were opposed the American policy. So we can say countries under European Union had different defense policies and foreign relations, which led to problems many times. And the fourth point is Britain's former Prime Minister kept Britain out of European market. As I said, European Union had the common foreign policies, common defense policies. They had the common market as well to cooperate and to have a good economic benefits from each other countries. They did not had any trade barriers for moving from one country to other country, removal of taxes or other type of excise duties. But here, Britain Prime Minister, they did not wanted to join European market. They did not do any marketing or any trade commerce in European market. Although Britain was the part of European Union, but did not merge its market with Europe. So like upper I told you, different foreign policies, different defense policies, here different market policies as well. So Britain was like a member of European Union, but it was not cooperating it. The other last is Denmark and Sweden have restricted the Maastricht Treaty. This treaty was to integrate, to make European Union a strong union, a strong organization, including more members for the development of economically, politically, socially, all, and to influence the whole world towards it. But Denmark and Sweden did not cooperate here also. And here Denmark, Sweden did not adopt this currency also. They did not adopt euro as their common currency. As according to European Union, we said that they had a common euro currency, but here these two countries did not follow this euro also. So these are some of the restrictions and limitations put in front of European Union, which stopped somehow it to become more and more powerful. Although it was a very good organization and a union to challenge US power, it had a capability to be as equal as US in terms of military, economy, ideology, and it had different strategy. As US focused mainly on military power, it has diplomatic power. It had different methods to tackle in the world arena. So these were some controversies and limitation put on the European Union. So with this we come to the end of this particular part, where I have told you some features of European Union as economic influence, as political and diplomatic influence. Here its military influence, I told you how economically, politically and militarily it is as equal to as US, and it can challenge the power of US hegemony or the dominance of US. And then I told you what are the limitation and controversies with European Union. So in the next part we shall be doing the next topic of this particular chapter. Till then, thank you.